Have you ever assembled IKEA furniture? This process can seem like a real ordeal, endless instructions, sometimes confusing parts, and, of course, lost screws. At first glance, it would be easier to buy a ready-made piece without spending time and nerves on assembly. However, despite all the difficulties, a dresser assembled with our own hands seems much more valuable to us than an expensive designer analog. Why does this happen? The answer lies in psychology, namely in the phenomenon known as the IKEA effect. This effect explains why we tend to overestimate things we've made ourselves. In this video, we will analyze the IKEA effect in detail, find out why it occurs and how it works, as well as examine its manifestations in our lives. We'll also discuss how we can utilize this psychological phenomenon in marketing and in our personal lives. Get ready for an exciting journey into the world of psychology and furniture assembly. The IKEA effect gets its name from the research of psychology and behavioral economics professor Dan Ariely, who conducted a series of experiments to better understand how we perceive the value of things we create ourselves. In one of the most striking experiments, he asked participants to assemble IKEA furniture or fold origami figures and then estimate their value. The results were quite surprising. Participants who took the time and effort to create their items valued them significantly higher than outsiders who simply saw the finished products. This phenomenon is called the IKEA effect. Dan Ariely's experiment clearly showed that the very process of creating a thing gives it additional value in our eyes. We begin to perceive this thing not just as an object, but as a part of ourselves, as a result of our efforts, our labor, and our creativity. This is similar to the way parents love their children, even if they are not the smartest or the prettiest. They love them simply because they have invested their efforts, their time, and their love in them, and this emotional connection adds value to what they have created. But why do we value so much what we have done ourselves? Psychologists attribute this to several factors. First, it has to do with cognitive dissonance. When we spend time and effort assembling something, we want to believe that it wasn't tea for nothing. In order to justify our efforts, we start overestimating the result, finding merits in it that may not actually exist. This helps us to reduce the inner discomfort associated with the time and effort spent. Second, a bias in favor of our own is triggered. We tend to evaluate positively everything that is related to us, everything we have created ourselves. It has to do with a sense of control and self-confidence. When we make something ourselves, we feel that we are in control of the process, that we can make adjustments and create something unique. This boosts our self-esteem and gives us confidence in our abilities. Third, fear of loss plays a role. We don't want to admit that we wasted our time and effort. We are afraid to admit that we have done something shoddy or ugly. To avoid this feeling, we begin to reevaluate our creations. The IKEA effect manifests itself not only in assembling furniture, but also in many other areas of life. For example, many people prefer to cook food themselves, even if it takes more time and effort than buying ready-made food in a store or ordering it in a restaurant. Why? Because they put their soul, their effort, their knowledge into cooking. They control the process, choose the ingredients, and create something unique. Gardening is another vivid example of the IKEA effect. People who grow vegetables or flowers on their own plot of land appreciate them much more than those who buy them in the store. They put a lot of labor and care into it. They watch the plants grow, enjoy the first sprouts, fight weeds and pests. This creates a special bond with the plants and increases their value in the eyes of the gardener. DIY projects such as renovating an apartment, creating furniture, or decorating a home are also great examples of the IKEA effect. People who do renovations with their own hands are proud of the result and appreciate it much more than if they had hired professionals. This is because they have put a lot of time, effort, knowledge, and creativity into it. Marketers have long noticed the IKEA effect and actively use it to promote their goods. One of the most striking examples is Lego constructors. Children spend a lot of time assembling these constructors and end up appreciating their creations very much. They are proud of the fact that they were able to assemble a complex model and it becomes for them not just a toy, but a symbol of their intelligence and perseverance. Creativity kits are another example of utilizing the IKEA effect. These kits offer customers the opportunity to create something with their own hands, a painting, a piece of jewelry, or an interior item. This increases the value of the product in the eyes of the customer and stimulates him to buy. By giving customers the opportunity to customize the product themselves, add their own elements to it, make their own adjustments, companies increase its value in the eyes of the consumer. This is due to the fact that the buyer feels like a co-author of the product. He has put his efforts and his individuality into it. Using the principle of gamification, during the selection process, it is often suggested to go through an exciting path, creating the feeling that it was the customer who created this product. The customer will remember this positive interaction. Despite all the benefits of the IKEA effect, it is important to remember its potential pitfalls. By overestimating our creations, we can make mistakes and bad decisions. For example, a person who has made poor quality repairs with their own hands may refuse to hire professionals to fix their mistakes, simply because they are sorry to admit they did something wrong. This can lead to even more problems and financial loss. Overestimating one's own skills is another danger of the IKEA effect. A person who once successfully assembled an IKEA dresser may think he or she is an expert at assembling furniture and take on complex projects that are beyond his or her abilities. This can lead to frustration, wasted time, and money. It is important to remember that the IKEA effect does not make us experts in everything. You need to really assess your capabilities and not be afraid to ask for help from professionals. The IKEA effect can be successfully applied in personal life as well. Cooking together is a great way to strengthen relationships with loved ones. When we cook together, we share our knowledge, our experience, our creativity. This creates a special bond between us and makes the cooking process more enjoyable and meaningful. Participating in common projects is another way to utilize the IKEA effect. Do something interesting and useful together, whether it is renovating an apartment, organizing a holiday, or creating a common hobby. This will strengthen your relationship and make your life more rich and colorful. Working together on relationships is probably the most important aspect of applying the IKEA effect in your personal life. Relationships require constant work and effort. If we put our efforts into creating strong and harmonious relationships, we will value them much more than relationships that we have gotten without effort. Intentionally create situations where you and your partner will work together to overcome challenges, achieve goals, or solve problems. This will help increase intimacy. The IKEA effect can be a powerful tool in the educational process, especially when it comes to fostering an active and engaged approach to learning. It is important to create conditions in which students are not just passive listeners, but active participants in their own educational projects. This can be achieved by organizing project work where students can conduct experiments, create presentations, and work in teams. This approach not only promotes the development of their creative abilities, but also allows them to feel their importance and contribution to the overall result. The use of the flipped classroom method also plays an important role in this process. In this approach, students first study theoretical material on their own, and during the lesson they are engaged in practical tasks and problem solving. This gives them the opportunity to deepen their understanding of the subject matter, as well as develop their independent work and critical thinking skills. When students see that their efforts are paying off and that they can influence the learning process, it greatly increases their motivation and engagement. By intentionally creating situations where every student can contribute, we not only build their confidence, but also build team spirit. This creates an atmosphere of cooperation and support, which in turn fosters deeper learning and the development of skills necessary for successful life in today's world. Ultimately, this approach not only helps to raise achievement levels, but also helps to develop a positive attitude towards learning as an exciting and meaningful process. The IKEA effect can be effectively utilized in various aspects of life, including marketing, personal relationships, and education. In marketing, Businesses can give customers the opportunity to participate in the creation of products by allowing them to choose designs or customize features. Offering self-assembly kits, such as constructors or die projects, can also engage customers and enhance their connection to the product. Encouraging personalization and customization further strengthens this bond, while incorporating game mechanics can make the experience more enjoyable and engaging. In personal relationships, one can engage in shared activities with loved ones, such as cooking, repairs, or hobbies, which fosters collaboration and connection. Putting effort into developing relationships and involving partners in common projects can create a sense of shared ownership and investment in the relationship. Additionally, establishing common rituals and traditions helps to solidify bonds and create lasting memories. In education, utilizing project activities and practical assignments encourages students to take an active role in their learning process. Encouraging independent research allows for deeper exploration of topics, while creating opportunities for creative expression can enhance engagement and motivation. Implementing the flipped classroom method can further empower students by promoting active learning and collaboration. However, it is important to remember that balance is key. One should not overdo it and must provide opportunities for self-expression without shifting all responsibility onto others. The IKEA effect is not just a fun psychological phenomenon. It is a reminder that the value of many things is determined not only by their quality and cost, but also by our efforts, our involvement in their creation. By putting our efforts into what we do, we make it more meaningful to ourselves. And even though sometimes assembling IKEA furniture is a real challenge, the result is always worth the effort. Pay attention to what you put your energy into. It will make your life more fulfilling and happier. And don't be afraid to take responsibility, because that is often how value is born. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this video helpful and interesting. Share in the comments. What things made by you do you appreciate the most? How do you utilize the IKEA effect in your life? Subscribe to our channel to not miss new videos about psychology, self-development, and useful life hacks. Live consciously and appreciate your efforts.